first annual TwitchCon 2015. This panel is being streamed live globally, so if you missed anything these brilliant people have to say, you'll be able to watch it later. And I can't believe it's standing room only, not a seat open, so I appreciate you guys. Cool. So to get you guys, to sort of get you guys in the mood for what we're going to be talking about today, I found this old infomercial in my flying around the house, so maybe we'll give this a shot.
That's how old it is.
Who's not getting paid back there?
You know, sometimes these things are just really hilarious. Oh! Yeah. And yeah, I know, right? Sorry about that. We'll get him to work on this later. Yeah.
It's all about how to get games for free, PR, and new media. And what that means is that right now, broadcast media is usurping traditional media in terms of influencing purchasing decisions. Because right now, in the past, people would go and watch a trailer, a 2-minute glossy trailer, and that would sort of say, should I go and check out this game or not? But now if somebody really wants to buy a game, they'll go to Twitch, they'll watch an hour of gameplay, talk to the broadcaster, and let that really determine whether or not they want to get it. And so what that means is that publishers and developers, they want you guys playing their games. But they want you playing them, but they don't necessarily know how to get them to you. And what we've learned is that you guys don't always know how to get attention from the PR people who have these games. So a big part of this panel is all about how you guys can build a relationship with PR professionals so you guys can start getting games for free. And it looks like we're getting closer to the world premiere of the information and commercial. Oh, now you're fast forwarding. What's great about this is that I see stuff that's not on the screen over there. So what we're going to do is I'm going to introduce the people on our panel, and they're going to give you a little background on themselves. First, we have, at the end, Scott Pidlick from 2K. Why don't you tell them a little about yourself?
Yeah, hi guys. Thanks so much for coming out. Like Chase said, my name is Scott Pidlick. I'm a senior communications manager at 2K. I work predominantly across all titles, including our Gearbox titles and Battleborn and Evolve. I work with a lot with new media and our streamers, so I'm sort of the guy that you want to go to at 2K when you're looking to get in touch with the PR guy and figure out how can we work together better and how can I inevitably get a game so I can stream it on my channel.
Cool. Next we have Jeff Rubenstein from Microsoft.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Rubenstein. I'm flustered. So now, basically, I work with the PR team. I've been part of the PR team. I worked on stuff like Gears of War and State of Decay. And part of my job has always been working with people on Twitch and other sites. And now they've said, okay, we want you to do this all the time, but not just across Xbox, but everything Microsoft, so Surface or Band or any of other products. So basically, I am the guy, much like Scott is at 2K, to come to for pretty much anything at Microsoft.
Cool. And so next we have Chris Kramer, and he's with 47 Communications, and he's going to tell you a little bit about his agency and what he does.
Kramer with 47, as Jay said. We are a digital lifestyle PR agency. We do a lot of work in video game space, work with a lot of awesome companies. Come see me later and talk to you about some of the people we're working with. I've been doing PR literally since the 16-bit era, so I've worked internally at companies like PlayStation and Capcom and Konami and on and on and on. So I'm excited to hopefully meet a whole bunch of you guys tonight and talk about how we can all work together.
Cool. And next we have a guy who, let's see, his name is John Carnage.
Yeah. I didn't get a big applause. That's okay. expect these beautiful, beautiful, handsome, rugged, good-looking guys up here for free games. Several years ago. I know things maybe have changed a little bit in that time, but I've been there. I know what's up. I know what it's like to struggle. I know what it's like to drink hot water for dinner. That's a true story. Why'd you laugh at that? That's sad. All right, let's do it, Jake.
All right, excellent. They say when I press the space bar, magic is going to happen. Let's see.
Every broadcaster loves playing the latest games, but how many times has this happened to you?
There are so many games I want to play, but they're all so expensive. I guess it's going to be another episode of Free to Play Friday.
So you want to stream a video game, but you're expecting to buy it first? That's right, chump. You're paying for a game to play on your channel that will encourage hundreds, even thousands of others to go out and purchase it. That's crazier than a small tiny ant. How can you play a game if everyone else has already beaten just because you couldn't get an early copy? Well, boo-hoo! Oh, look! All of your subscribers are moving over to watch Swifter because he has access to the early games and you don't. Why are the jumps fail? Population, you.
Hi, I'm Chase. You might recognize me from Game Informer issue 260, 262. All right, here are the PR Chase. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to teach you everything you know to get free games. Free to play should just be for free games. It should be for every game. And with white cover professionals, you're going to learn everything you need to know. It's not just games. That's right. It's consoles, swag, anything in the video game industry that's on your show, you should be paying for. And I'm going to teach you that. Cool. Imagine you got the people that did the audio and video for that to do it for free, which include General Mittens, who's over there, and the Mav Show, who would provide that lovely video. So, thank you guys. And so, there's a lot of things we need to talk about here, but we're going to first start off with the basics, which is how do you beat these guys? So, I wanted to start off with this: how do people get in touch with you guys? How do they find PR people?
I would say predominantly these days it's on Twitter. I probably do most of my business with streamers on Twitter through direct message. If they don't know me or they haven't made an introduction, then they'll just tweet at me, which is fine because I'll spot it in my mentions feed and then reply on beyond that. And if it gets serious, we'll start DMing. And then beyond that, I think Jeff and I were joking. If it gets really serious, it moves to email.
Email's like second base for like. It's kind of like a weird story. So Angel, who's over there, sidecar, like she DM'd or she tweeted at Rod Ferguson. Oh, from that video, I'm the guy who sent Years of War to Swifter. So I'm like, oh no, we played it. That's great. Job done. She DM'd Rod Ferguson, who's like the head of Years of War of the coalition, and I was sitting right next to him, and he goes, okay, handle this. And so then we started talking, and it's like, oh, you do play Gears, you're a huge fan, and that's how that started. So it's usually, it can happen at a show. We just want to talk. It's all about relationships. It's not immediately like, show me all your numbers. It's just, we want to know that you're enthusiastic about the game, and that's like a really great place to start.
Yeah, a lot of us show up on Twitter lists for people in the games industry. A lot of the PR people do. I recognize a lot of other games PR people up in the front here too. Another great way is also looking on LinkedIn. If you go on LinkedIn and just start searching for the companies, usually you'll find the PR monkeys listed in there as well.
You guys also have like media sites with that press releases that also has your contact info period on it?
We do. Yeah, I think if you go to 2K's website and then go to the About page, on there it says for media inquiries, it's pr@2k.com is our email alias. That goes to all of the PR people on our team, and we're not that huge of a team. I think it's 7 or 8 of us. So a human being will receive your email, and we'll try to get back to you as soon as possible. But it's just as easy, and probably just a lot faster to reach out to people directly through Twitter. And usually all of us put like what games we're working on in our Twitter bios to make it that much easier to figure out who you want to get in touch with, because you may not, some of you might be really into Evolve, and other people aren't into like Civilization and don't play turn-based strategy games. So talk to the right person.
Yeah, there's also sort of like every press release that goes out. I think for like the majority of games, and press releases are sort of going away for a good reason, but they do go out sometimes, and there's almost always like a PR contact on there. If you just say, hey, this is who I am, this is what my channel is, no one can get it to.
I met these guys in person.
Well,
that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's like, yeah.
And how do you pay them to do that? So what about connecting you guys at events? What are there some events that are better than others? Best practice events?
You want to go first?
Go for it.
I love PAX. I think PAX is hands down my favorite trade show in this industry. It's when I get to meet fans, and it reminds me why we work long, hard hours to put out great video games, because we see fans, and it's when I get to meet the most streamers. But walking up and just trying to find me at a trade show is usually crazy, because I'm running around with my head cut off and trying to do probably the job of 3 people at the same time. So if you ever try to come up and talk to me at the 2K booth at any trade show and I nod around or I can't stop for 2 seconds to talk, it's not because I don't want to, just because I'm super busy. So usually the best way is to try and reach out ahead of time and make an appointment to talk. Because I do have a schedule of where I'm supposed to be at certain times. So if you're ever looking, I think these guys probably say the same thing. Like, we schedule out our trade shows ahead of time, so the sooner you can make those appointments, the better. But inevitably, sometimes I'll just be hanging around or walking to and from booths. If you see me, totally walk up. Like, I try to be friendly and approachable.
Yeah, I'd second PAX. PAX has like just a much more relaxed feel to it in general. And if you just come up to the booth and you find someone in the shirt and you say, hey, I want to make an appointment, they're always going to find somebody, and we'll get in touch with the right person. E3, like June 1st to like June 20th is like a black hole, and I don't remember it. Like at the end, I wake up and like, did it work? Did it work? Yeah. What year is it? And so, yeah, there was someone today, they're like, oh, I bet you E3, and I'm like,
I love that.
yeah, I'm sure.
Oh, you were that one guy.
Yeah, exactly. So, and it's not that we, don't want to, and that's terrible. It's just that, yeah, it's just kind of crazy. Like you said, the PAX generally is like really good. We are more than happy to make that time. It just may take a little bit of time for us to be able to formally get back.
Cool. And then so if you're saying the best time is to meet, schedule appointments, when would you say is there a good time frame? What's the window of time people should reach out to meet with you at a PAX or E3?
Usually like 3 to 4 weeks before a show is good times, because we're starting to put schedules together for clients and the people we work with, and then VIPs we got to run around. And, by that point we know, where stage shows are and things like that. So it's usually 3-4 weeks is like the sweet spot, because you're starting to get organized, or you're mostly organized, but you're not completely over scheduled.
I've had people reach out to me in January, and I'm like, for E3, for that, I'm like, that's great. I'm glad you're ready. The fact that you even say E3 has given me panic attacks. So, talk to me eventually.
So let's get a little more into the nitty-gritty. Reaching out to PR people is more than just sending an email out and say, hey, I've got 10,000 followers. Can you guys talk a little bit about how content creators can validate themselves?
We are going to check what you did, so you can make it easier on us and say, hey, here's a great example. As Xbox, we have a ton of different types of games, and the type of people that play Minecraft might not be the type of people that play Forza or Halo or Gears of War or one of our other titles. So I would say, point out to us like, oh, hey, we have Halo 5 coming out October 27th. Pre-order now. If you were really big into Halo 4, you did all kinds of stuff for Halo 4, and you want to show us your stuff you did. I realize Twitch was not like what it was now, but if anything else you've done previously and you're a huge fan, that's stuff we want to hear. And we're just, I would say, number one concern, like, we're finding people that are just really interested and really excited about that content. And we don't always know, like, people reached out to us like a week before Forza came out, and I was like, oh, there's this huge channel that really loves racing, and they're doing very cool stuff. And I was almost apologetic that I didn't find you first. And that's the type of stuff that we really have to know. We can take back to those teams and say, yeah, it's absolutely worth it for us to make sure this person gets to our events. We make time for them, and we give them everything they need.
Yeah. How many people are streaming on Twitch these days? What's the number?
100 million viewers per month. We got 1.7 million broadcasters.
Right. So there's 1.7 million of you guys out there, and
there's 4 of you, but Carnage is in the PR, so 3 of you.
So it's really, we want to hear from people, but there's so many people out there, it's really tough. And one of the best things we were talking about this is oftentimes it's really hard for us to find you guys, because we can see you on the internet, we can see you playing games. We would like to send you more games, but we don't know how to do that. A lot of people are missing contact information. Like, for instance, we went for the Twitch broadcaster list, and we went and looked for everybody, and I think we got probably about 70% of the people on the Twitch broadcaster list from the TwitchCon. But a lot of people, like, you go to, like, we go to your YouTube page, we go to your Twitter site, we go to your channel, and we can't find contact information for you guys. really like put something out there, even if it's just like a lot of the guys on other streaming services or video services will have like a business email, something that you can just filter, so at least we can do first point of contact. So it'll be easy for us to say, "Hi, I'm Kramer. I'm here to give you a copy of NHL or Street Fighter or something fun like that."
And that's something that's actually really helpful for us is having your location, like not your street address on the site or anything, but like some people it's like I'll look on your Twitter and it's like location internet, and I'm like, all right, that's great, because I want to know you might be doing an event that is in that town, and I'll remember, oh, so and so's in this town. We should make sure to get them out there and do something in person. So any extra bit of info that you can put in there that obviously does not compromise your safety, like no social security numbers, and that's very useful for us.
Yeah, I would echo that, and I would say that for me, Kramer, you're right, there's a zillion of them and only a few of us, and so we get all these emails and tweets, and if you don't have an email address somewhere easily accessible in your Twitter bio or on your channel page that says, and it doesn't have to be your personal address, right? Like a lot of people are smart and they create a Gmail account that's just for business inquiries. And that's really smart. And if I see that's immediately like a good sign that I know you're taking this seriously, that you want to develop professional relationships with other professionals in our industry. Especially, if you show up and you have 10 followers on your Twitch channel, I'm still going to take a look at you, but it's just I'm not going to put in the extra effort to find your email to get back to you if you're reaching out to me on Twitter, for example, and I can't easily find it. So definitely put that somewhere out there. And then, to your point, Kramer, there isn't really any tools out there right now. You have to keep in mind, and maybe people don't think of it this way, but PR practitioners have been around a really long time, and the sort of art of PR and persuasion has been around a really long time, and we know how to work with traditional media, and it's just been this long set in our ways of doing things, business practices that are just understood, right? With this brave new world of new media, it's like when I go to explain to our executives how we're working with, we call it broadcasters and YouTubers new media, and it's like I'm explaining it like, remember 10, 15 years ago when Kotaku and Joystick and these blogs were scary and we weren't sure if they were going to be influential like newspapers? Well, that's kind of what Twitch is like. And there's no tools out there, there's no databases out there yet that really categorize you guys into like, oh, this guy's a Halo player, or this guy's an Evolve player, here's his email address and how to get in touch with him. So it's much more of a grassroots effort. So the easier you can make it on us, the easier it is for us to find you and then contact you.
So what Scott's saying is we're super old.
We're old.
And something, on the flip side of making sure you have your contact, the benefit, I should say, is about having your contact information on your Twitch page, is that one thing that's happening right now, the bigger you get, I know PR people are actually getting pitched by a lot of impersonators. People say, oh, I'm so-and-so, and then they have to sort of double-check email address. Have you guys experienced impersonators?
My favorite story is I was literally on the phone with a streamer, and his impersonator that had been going around emailed me while I was on the phone with him. I'm like, oh, that's funny. Like, so-and-so just, Zach just said that, he wants a free copy of the game I just sent him, or the game that it was Evolve. He had been playing Evolve for like 6 months at that point before it came out. And this person's, trying to grab a free copy. And, I emailed them back to politely say, hey, I know that you're not real, and they gave me grief for it, but, it was just a funny coincidence that I was talking to the real person.
So if they had actually spent any of that time impersonating that person and like just started a channel, they probably could have ended up getting a game.
So let's talk a little bit about embargoes. Is that one thing in traditional media is that whenever there's news or releases, a lot of times we'll give products and things to media, traditional media under embargo, and everybody has to adhere to it, because if one person breaks that embargo, it means the news is out there or the video is out there. And so can you guys talk a little bit about, embargoes and content creators and how you view it?
So something that said, Scott, is like, I think with a lot of traditional media, there's sort of an understanding on a number of things, including embargoes, where, we know if we send an invite for an event, you all know what's probably going to happen at this event. You're going to play something, there's going to be an embargo. And there's sort of that natural sort of understanding, and it's not always there, I've noticed, with broadcasters or new media, as referred to as Scott. So it's part of our job, I think, to like really, hammer home, like, hey, this really is important. We haven't had serious issues, but there are things where it's like, if you don't wait until we tell you to play this, or you broadcast the end of the game before the game came out, and we specifically asked you not to, it is going to poison the relationship. And there's like an example, and I think this is something I don't see too often with traditional media, is following up on RSVPs, and where it's like, I say I'm coming to this event, and almost always we like, if it's a blogger or if it's a newspaper or a magazine, whatever it might be, if they say they're coming, they're coming. And I've done a couple of events here where there's folks that have been like broadcasters, and they're like, oh, I'm totally coming, so we plan, and maybe we're doing an extra session or anything like that, and then they don't show up. And it was this one person did that to us twice this year, and there will not be a third invite. And I don't care if you have 1 million subscribers, we're not going to plan around you anymore. So I think that it's just there's sort of things, and part of it is on us to really make it clear that all that goes into it. And I think over time people will understand it. But if we're putting it in the email, we're saying it, like, believe me, we really mean it. Yeah.
That's really what it is. It's viewing yourself as a professional, and if you view yourself and conduct yourself like a professional, others do yourself like a professional. Others do yourself like a professional. I think that trade shows like PAX are this time, like I said, it's my favorite trade show. It's also simultaneously the most difficult to get people to show up on time to their appointments. I mean, E3 is bad, but the PAX is worse because everyone's out having a good time at night and they're waking up. I mean, I can't tell you, I had a couple people that rescheduled their Battleborn playtest appointment every morning of PAX because they woke up and they were too hungover to show up, and they're like, well, maybe I'll come in the afternoon, or maybe I'll come the next morning. And it's like, well, you got to keep that commitment, because it's not that we'll never not work with you again, but I'm just less likely to put in what limited time I have during the day to commit to getting you to come to an appointment.
And every game we send out, every appointment we set, that you get is someone, or as a game or a session that someone isn't getting. So we're choosing you over somebody else, and it's your finite resources, so we want to make sure that stuff just doesn't go to waste. Like, we didn't hold an event and then there was an empty seat there. That could have been somebody else. So we're just trying to make sure that the people that really want to be there, and there's no shortage of those people, that those are the people we have.
Yeah, so just weighing in on what Scott said, good best practice about people being hungover, not coming in, making their appointments. I think for this crowd, make sure you don't schedule early morning meetings the day after the Twitch parties.
Yeah. Good word of it.
So let's talk a little bit about brand friendliness, and what does that mean to you guys, and what are some of the benefits that can come from it?
I mean, for 2K, we don't really have like a written policy of what like brand friendliness would mean for a streamer, but I think a lot of it is just common sense stuff. So, I mean, cursing is not something that we are going to not work with you because you curse. Like, I think everybody more or less curses. But if your channel is excessive, if that's all you do, and you're built on this, you built up your community by being incredibly edgy and foul, and and you're using curse words excessively, then we might consider that isn't an audience we're looking to attract for one of our games. So I mean, I think there's something to just be a little self-aware of the type of people that you're bringing to your community. I think more than anything, what separates Twitch from everything else out there in the new media space is that it's very much about building a community in the chat. And so I will frequently jump into chat rooms just to see, not what the broadcaster is saying, but what is the chat saying? And is the broadcaster, if the chat gets out of hand and is really turning kind of toxic or abusive, is the broadcaster doing something to curb that? And and if they are, then that person in my mind moves up the ladder a little bit as far as whether or not I work with them. And if they're not, and they're encouraging it, then perhaps it's not wrong. I mean, I'm sure you can build an enormous following off of being really kind of negative and edgy. And that's totally fine. I have nothing wrong with that. In fact, I might watch a stream because it's entertaining, and I think personally it's funny. But it isn't maybe necessarily the thing that 2K as a brand would think is brand friendly. And so I have to be consciously aware of that as a professional.
I think enthusiasm is a big win for us too. Especially for us, for my company, my agency. We represent a lot of different companies, and everyone has different approaches and stuff. So when we're going out, we're looking to work with broadcasters on behalf of another client. We're looking for people who are genuinely excited. It's video games, folks, right? Like, people play video games because they're fun. That's why I'm doing this nonsense. 20-some odd years in. So we're looking for people who are on and who are digging it. They're playing Gears of War and they're losing their minds and yelling at the TV and having a good time, or like freaking out during an Evolve session. That's the sort of stuff we look at and they're like, man, like, you know, this broadcaster is super passionate about what they're doing. They really love it. And, you know, that also translates out to your audience as well. You know, they're gonna feel it from you guys if you're putting it out there. That energy you put out is gonna, we'll find you, and then I'm sure more people will find you in your audience as well.
And I think a lot of this also goes back to, we've talked a lot about, what you should provide them with when reaching out to these PR professionals. And if you have highlights or clips that really illustrate your show in a positive way, that's something that's going to be to your benefit, especially if they don't have to go to your profile and dig around and find out what's the right clip.
Carnage always just emails me. It's like, bro,
let's make this happen.
Just do it, yeah.
You ever heard of Twitch, man? Yo, it's slash Twitch. I don't even know what I'm saying. Yeah, so screen cap. Screen cap. If you guys haven't thought of sending that before, it's really simple. Just take a screen cap of your channel and send it to these guys. It kind of gives like a quick glimpse into your channel, what it might look like when these guys are looking through a ton of emails. Highlights are also a really big deal. Try not to put the really crazy ratchet one, because they are probably not worth looking at these things. So find one that works, that makes you laugh, but not too much.
We watch with headphones on.
Oh, okay, all right.
The first thing I do, if someone reaches out to me, I look at their past broadcasts and see what have they been playing for like the last several, weeks or months. And some people are really good at archiving, some people don't. So I would say that is instant, because the chances of you being live the minute I look is pretty low. So I think that's like a very crucial thing to see. Okay, they're constantly doing this, or they're wide mix of things, or they've invested in a game that I don't think they're going to play. And if that's the case, then maybe it doesn't. It's not going to happen.
I don't know if you guys do this too, but I look on, down in the information section of the page to see, like, is there a schedule? Is it filled out down below? Like, does it look professional? Presentation like that really matters to me, because it's just one. I mean, everything is you meet somebody for the first time, right? Whether or not you feel like you're judging somebody or not, you're judging somebody by how they look for the first time, and that the appearances matter in some way, shape, or form. And so the appearance of your channel matters in a lot too, especially if I've never met you before, right? So past broadcasts, definitely for sure. If you're not playing games, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, if you guys have a chance to meet these people in person, which is a rare opportunity, perfect your quick pitch. Yeah. And if you can, have like an iPad or your cell phone with your channel on it, so you can visualize it real quick and have business cards. And then that's it. Let them go do their thing. Because these guys are super busy all the time, especially at events.
You know what's funny about that? That's like reverse PR, but it's necessary. Like PR people take years to practice. Like, what is your 15-second elevator pitch? When you're talking to somebody at the New York Times who doesn't cover video games very often, right? Like, what are you going to say to get them to maybe think about you later? It's the same thing. It's just reverse order. It's like, well, what am I going to say to them so that they remember when they go back to the office?
Yeah, business cards are really important. That's something that we were talking about earlier. Like, even if it's your name, your email, just what your channel is, what your Twitter handle is, and like any information you want to put on there, like cost 10,000 followers on Twitter or something like that. That's the sort of stuff that even if Scott is running around crazy at PAX, you can leave that behind, and that gets to us. Like if you drop by the booth and you can't find a PR person right away, people who are at the front desk, their job is to like collect that information, make sure we get it. So, and we all go through after the show and send emails out and stuff like that. It's like, hey, sorry I missed you. Let's connect now that my brain is back in school.
And it might seem stupid or unprofessional, but like some people put like pictures of themselves on the business card, and I'm like, oh, I remember that guy, and that actually really helps, because we might have a stack this big at the end of PAX or the 3, and it's just like,
I'll be like, oh, I met that dude with the beard, or that girl with the purple hair. Now I know who that person is. That's really helpful.
Picture on the card, grow a beard. Yeah, if you can't grow a beard, then your chick is wearing like a fake beard. Or borrow Dave Blank's beard, because he just got it.
Should they also include, like, let's say they're sponsored by a brand, does that help? They're like soft peripheral device?
I think so. I mean, a little bit. It can't hurt you. I put it that way, right? Because, like, for example, if you're on, Astro's stream team or any of the peripheral manufacturer stream teams, or you're, like on in the coalition, a large, well-known stream team, I think, there's a certain threshold of, people that you have to be professional to get into those groups in the first place. So it's just one layer for me where I'm like, okay, I don't need to thoroughly vet this person as much, because I'm trusting Astro and the coalition.
Yeah, it can't hurt, but don't feel like, oh, I'm not a sponsor, therefore I don't have a chance. We're actually very interested to broadcasting and are sort of on their way up, that are fresh voices and aren't just the same people that we always talk to. We have that core list of people, but if someone's new, especially if they're playing games that are not, everyone plays Halo, or a lot of people play Halo. We have no shortage of people who are going to come after us for that game. But for other titles that are more niche and they're really into it, then that is, the threshold is very different for that, and we want to know who you are.
Yeah, and so that sort of leads into another question, is that traditional media, if they get on a product list, they get every game that comes out, should content creators expect the same thing, or should they be reaching out to you on a case-by-case basis?
Not, media don't always get every game every time, but yeah, that's...
Sure they do.
No, I go through, I take things very personal. No, but it's not, there's never like a magic Christmas list. Actually, there was back when I was at PlayStation, just because there were so many people on the internet at that point. We were just like, here, everyone have a game, leave me alone. But not everyone has a budget like that. Not everyone will get every game, and we're, especially, we were talking about, like, if we're looking at what you're doing in your channel. If you're an all Minecraft channel, and you're like, hey, send me your exploding head game, we're probably like, doesn't seem where your audience is. Sometimes it might be like if we have a relationship, if we get going, like we get to know each other, and you're like, hey, I'm really interested in your exploding head game. I'll be like, okay, here you go.
We don't like exploding head games. I feel like you're disdaining the exploding head.
Well, for the Minecraft kids.
Yeah, but a lot of times you might be interested, and we also kind of want to know what you're up to. So there are a lot of folks that are, very focused on Minecraft, but then they want to make like, channel 2, and that's going to be doing a different genre. And if that's the case, and you've got a relationship based on Minecraft, then yeah, we're gonna want to help you achieve those goals. So just let us know what you're up to and what your plans are, because we might be very interested in working together.
I mean, I think even when I work with traditional media, I still expect them to just reach out one way or the other and let us know that they're interested in a review copy of their game. I mean, there are obviously like the IGNs we want to make sure they get a review copy. But when it comes to streamers, our list, the list that we maintain of people's contact information, we actually have categories for them within our different franchises at 2K, where we mark down which ones you'd like to play, because I think it's a professional courtesy to you that I'm not calling you up if if you predominantly play Counter-Strike and Call of Duty and you're a first-person shooter streamer, you don't want me calling you or emailing you or tweeting at you asking you if you want to play XCOM 2, because, I mean, maybe you personally want to play it, maybe you are an XCOM 2 fan, but that wouldn't be something you would professionally stream to your audience. And it's just, it's all about kind of reducing the clutter of communication between, both sides of the fence. So in that regard, I definitely would say, if you're interested in a game, make sure that we know you're interested in that game or that genre of games, because then we'll mark you down, and whenever the sequel comes around, we'll be sure to reach out and ask you if you're still interested.
That was a sponsored response from XCOM. So let's talk a little bit. Let's talk a little bit about some no-nos. If you guys want to get into like what should people do when they're reaching out to you. You can talk about spam or reselling. What are some things that they should know?
Yeah, definitely don't resell the game that I sent you. I know that happened to you, Chase, back in the day. It sucks to see your game end up on eBay. So yeah, definitely don't do that. It's a little bit harder with digital codes these days. But even, like beta codes and stuff, like limited beta codes, you'll see people get 6 of them and then they keep one and they just like give them out, to their friends. I think giving them out, giving codes out to your stream, if that's something that you've talked to the PR person about, and most PR people are supportive of that and actually encourage it. But it's a professional courtesy to be like, hey, heads up, I'm going to do this, let me know if that's a problem. It's almost never an issue. Reselling a game would be an issue, so yeah, don't do that.
I mean, I would say a little bit of patience with us would go a long way. There's like a fine line between persistence and spamming.
I love persistence, but there's that line too, you're like, bro, please.
But we've got people who hit me up on Twitter, and then I'm busy, I'm like, it's a weekend or whatever it might be, and I'm not paying attention. And then like an hour later, we're like, ass. I'm like, this is totally going to work. Because they think they're getting ignored. So I would say just, it's a lot of PR, and this is not like indicative or exclusive only to new media or anything. It's building relationships, and he's someone who's like cool to deal with, and then we're going to want to make sure if we find an extra copy or something that's going your way, even if we technically run out. And so I would say just be like normal or nice. yes. It seems weird that I should have to say that, but that really goes a long way.
Yeah, and keep in mind that it's not an infinite Santa Claus bag of video games too, right? So even though these guys work for Microsoft or 2K, like the games aren't actually free. So we'll get codes and we'll get X number of codes. Sometimes we get 30 codes, sometimes we get 200, sometimes more or less, whatever. We have to make sure we're getting those codes out in the right direction. So we sometimes might not have a game for you right at launch or the day before launch or something like that. If we say we're gonna hook you up, it'll come, but sometimes we just have to say no because we don't have the product to give you. But don't take it personally. There's a lot of things that go into these decisions. It's not arbitrary. We're not just tossing darts at maybe.
Yeah.
But it's really great. If you reach out and say, hey, I really want a code for Exploding Head Game, and I'm like, dude, I can't hook you up right now, but maybe in a week, if you get more codes, you just reply back and say, cool, check in with me in a week, because also I have a goldfish attention span. So it's always cool if I say I'll get it to you in a week, and 7 days later, I haven't sent it to you, and be like, where's my thing? I'll be like, damn, here you go. So,
I think fun fact that most people don't realize or don't consider is that, at least for 2K, as a third-party publisher, we literally can run out of copies of our games or codes of our games, and that isn't free. It's not free for us to give you a copy of the game. We pay for every digital code that we get from first parties. So even though you're like, oh man, it's only a multi-digital code, just plug it into the Xbox dashboard and it works. We buy that copy, at cost, and then we're giving it to you. So. We're very judicious in how we hand out our copies, even the digital codes, and not everyone can get one. And so a lot of times we'll get complaints, especially for people who are newer to the industry. They just think, oh, everything's free. It's just these companies making games, so I can totally get one. They hate me because they do.
Hey, Joe.
Just
I was going to say, what about consoles? You have tons of those, you can send them out to anybody,
Yeah.
right? Xbox, you have hundreds.
Yeah, hundreds.
Millions.
Here's that's when we get real picky. That's when we start really looking at the type of stuff that is being produced and their history. And look, we're less than 2 years into this console generation, and so if you were really big into years 2 and 3, but you didn't have a chance to, this is an inflection point where you might be wanting to move into Xbox One, and you've been doing great stuff, then it's something where you have to put I wouldn't say an argument together, but just saying, hey, give me one, it's not going to happen. I don't even think people do that. So I think for the most part, a lot of times we'll find you and we'll be like, all right, we really want this person to do that. But I would say, let us know what your plans are, your long-term plans. If we're going to be giving you a console, it's not just for one game. We're going to expect that, down the line, there's you might be interested in future games as well. So there's not really I would say a formula that gets plugged in or anything like that. Again, if you've got a good story, a compelling reason, then I think that people would know.
What about Exploding Head Game Marathon?
Yeah, I can't say anything more. We don't comment on rumors or speculation about Exploding Head.
So we talked a little bit about when should people reach out to you for trying to schedule appointments at events. What about getting copies of games? I assume that once the game ships, they can just call you up and you can send it right out.
Actually, more and more, we're really interested in making sure that broadcasters get the game before. And that's something we've been doing for about a year now. I'm very biased, but I feel like Xbox makes pretty damn good games. And we're very confident in our developers, and we know that they're producing really good stuff. And as such, we're usually not waiting until the release date to let folks broadcast. In fact, we find that it's some of the best stuff is happening in the days and weeks ahead of time. So I would say, a month out, give or take, is the time when we're really getting our list together. I have sort of inbox, a separate folder of people that requested Halo, and then I looked at it and I thought, we've got enough that this person's getting it because they're showing excitement, so we're going to make it happen.
Is that folder now crashing your inbox every time you open it?
Outlook is a quality.
So once you guys have sent somebody in, why don't you discuss a little bit, what are your expectations What do you want to see? What do you want them to send you?
10 out of 10. Looks like.
I think we want to see it being played. Like the worst thing is, you know, if we send out a game, especially if someone requests something, and it never shows up on the channel. It's like, oh, sorry, I'm still busy continuing to stream League of Legends. You know, like we said, it codes with games, whatever, it costs money. Like if we're gonna, especially if we're gonna send you a game in the mail, it's like we pay for FedEx. You know, for me to actually get up and move around, it costs money too. But you know, if we're sending you a game, especially if it's something you've requested and it never shows up on your stream or on your channel, it's like, well, what the hell? Where'd that go? Is that somebody's birthday presents? You know.
One thing that you are not obligated to do is say you love the game. I have no interest in telling you what to say. I have no interest in telling you how to use the game. I have no interest in.
It would be great if you did that.
Being a puppet. Look, I would love it, but you are building an audience because of what you do. And I'm actually here to, while the panel is sort of how do we give stuff to you, or how do you get stuff from us, but the reality is we're here to serve you and to make sure that you're able to create great content. So I would say I used to review games going back a ways, and people would send me games sometimes that they didn't ask, and I felt no obligation to review those games or play those games. If I requested a game, I felt like I should probably play it if I went out of the way to ask for it. And I think that common courtesy dictates that. But you were under no legal obligation or anything, and we're going to put it right in the email that you get with the code that says, here are all the things you don't have to do. So be yourself and make the stuff you do. We're probably sending you something because we already like what you do, and we're hoping that we can be a part of that. So don't think that it's necessarily you have to say something good because you do not.
What would you say if you sent somebody a game and before they streamed it, they played it and they didn't like it? Would you rather not stream it at all?
So I was going to touch on that. So I think with traditional media, that traditional review process is very much like I'm going to give you a copy. Here's when the review embargo is. Like these are certain things about the story that we don't want you to spoil for people. You know, this is the parameters or whatever. And then you're going to post whatever review score you're going to post. We don't really influence that. And with streamers, it's an entirely different process, in that most of whether or not you're going to get a copy or not, or whether you even want a copy, is figured out ahead of time, or should be figured out ahead of time. It's figured out ahead of time. I have a Twitch channel, but I don't get on there and stream all that often. But if I did all the time, I would hope that the games that I play are the games that I'm having fun, and because I'm having fun, my audience is having fun. And I think that any of the real professional streamers that I work with and talk to, they just won't accept a game that they don't think they're going to enjoy, because they're not reviewing it the way that an IGN or a GameStop would review it. They're trying to have fun and be entertaining on stream because they're an entertainer and they're entertaining their audience. And if their audience isn't going to enjoy it, then they don't want to play it. So in a lot of ways, like that difficult dance of like, do you want a copy? It kind of gets figured out ahead of time. Refer back to don't play XCOM 2 if you don't want to play a strategy game because you're not going to have fun doing it. But do definitely play XCOM 2.
So after they stream your game, are there certain things that you would love to get sent to you directly on the social side or the statistics side?
Good question, yeah.
We look, and I think this didn't actually come up, so when we're looking at your channel, I'm looking, do you tweet often? Do you have, if you get packages, are you putting that on Instagram? I look at like sort of like the whole person or like the whole, digital sort of footprint that you have. And sometimes that can be a real boon, I think, in your favor if you're really big in or growing in one aspect or another channel. So I think that's big, and that's also how I'm most likely going to find out that you're actually broadcasting your stuff.
Or even just a quick email that says, hey, I got the game, thanks a lot. I'm actually going to play Tuesday at 7 p.m. or I'm playing tonight. Or, hey, check out my archive from last night. I played the game for 3 hours and talked with everyone on my channel, and here's the link, just in case. That's really nice too.
So there's like a sort of a dance that we have to do within our own PR teams. When I'm saying it is a robot. And when especially if we're doing an event, we're setting aside a certain amount of codes. Like they'll say, how many do you think you're going to need for this game? And the number I give them is always way bigger than I thought it was going to be. And they're like, well, why do you deserve this? And what I'll do is at the end, I will say, hey, here's all the people that played your game. Here's some great highlights. We'll put together like a whole thing. If you send us stuff, then it makes our job easier. Again, you're under no obligation to do it, but it will make me like you more. So that is probably a good thing for everybody. So yeah, we do notice, and we do notice between anything about our game, we do notice if you're doing some fun stuff, and if you send it to us, it makes it that much more likely that we'll see it and that these things will get to continue.
I have another reason why you should let us know if you get a copy from us and you are going to be playing it. At least at 2K, definitely let us know when you're going to, because I can speak from experience with Evolve, and we have some folks from our Evolve community team in the room, and it was all hands on deck when Evolve was launching. We were all over Twitch for a period of time when the game launched, and a lot of us were spending our free time in the evenings because we were so passionate about the game and about watching other people play the game that we were dropping into people's chat rooms, and those people got to know us because we were exchanging tweets or we were exchanging emails. And before you know it, the broadcasters were calling out, "Oh, Scott's in the chat room. He's from 2K. His username's Pitfall. Make sure you say hi to Scott." And or they'd be making us moderators and stuff. And so we were actually starting to, like I said, participate in the community aspect of it, because I feel like Twitch really is all about building a community. And so we would go in there and start chatting it up with fans. Before you know it, we met more streamers that way. We met more broadcasters than just general fans. And our not just the PR team, our community management team is doing that. And it's just hard. Like there's 1.5 million of you or whatever. We can't be in all the chat rooms, but if you're taking the time to email us or tweet at us to let us know that you're going to be doing it, we probably will drop it and say hi.
We'll also, if you tell us ahead of time or let us know when it's happening, we can also sometimes get you retweeted on the official Twitter handle for the game or the company or something like that. So, recognition goes both ways, right? Social works in two directions. So you're like, hey, look, I'm live now. Push that out to the Evolve Twitter handle.
And with the Evolve stuff, we were taking it one step further, where we were actually using the official Evolve Twitch channel to host other people, other broadcasters who are streaming. We still do that on a daily basis because we're unable to be live all the time. Like we have other stuff that we have to be doing. But we'll use our official channel to highlight broadcasters, big and small. Some broadcasters only have a couple hundred followers, but we'll still put them up on our post them on our channel.
Yeah, we post them on it as well. So if we know you're doing something, that's a very.
I think I just thought of something. Would it also be beneficial for people who you're not currently sending games to, if you're doing, say somebody didn't get involved with you, they got on their own, should they just be tweeting it out and hashtagging the brand? Do you think that's going to help build some goodwill?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it can't hurt, right? And B, it can build a little bit of goodwill. And if you do it enough, I'm a firm believer in persistence, frankly. I don't think I'd be in this industry doing my job if I wasn't persistent about cold calling, cold emailing people to get my first job. So, if you're tweeting at the Evolve handle frequently or the Battleborn handle or whatever, here's where I'm sure someone will take note of that. There's a real human being on the end of that Twitter handle who has to manage it, and then they write down, like, okay, this person's really into it, and they make sure that they're retweeting it. It's part of community building.
Cool. We're going to be taking some Q&A in a minute, so I'm going to sort of lightning round, because I still think there's some big questions out here that people might want to know the answers to. And then like a big one is, does being a partner, do you need to be a partner to get free games? No.
I don't think so, but it helps. I mean, if I see that you're a partner channel, then I know. It's like, refer back to the Astro stuff I was talking about earlier. Like it just is another layer of validation, I guess.
And I guess I always like to say that even if you're not a partner, most of your goal is to become one, so you might not be with them, but if you build up that relationship early on, you might not get every game they're putting out, but at least by the time you turn that corner, you'll already be on the radar. Yeah. You guys agree with that?
Yeah, and then we can make Chase turn into a partner.
So,
Chase fix this guy.
So at Twitch, transparency is one of our core values for both internal and external communications about the brand, to our requirements surrounding sponsored content. So I just wanted to get a take on what you guys think about transparency when it comes to your games.
Yeah, I think, and we put all, when we send you the code, and that said there's some legalese, we're not going to tell you what to say, and you're not legally obligated to play the game or anything like that. Also, you are legally obligated to say that we sync the game. And that is that's just the way things are. So yeah, don't hide it. We don't want you to hide it. We want it to be very clear. We're not sending you a check that says please say awesome things about the game, but we did send you the game, and it's all spelled out in there pretty cleanly. And it's the type of stuff that the government is paying attention to. So I don't want to be the guy that gets yelled at by Congress or something.
Also, PR people have no money, so we're not writing any checks anyways.
Our sole existence is to do things for free.
Yeah, exactly.
No, I agree. I mean, at 2K, absolutely transparency is a must, and it's getting to the point where we actually are proactively saying, hey, reminder, we're giving this to you. Please disclaim while you're talking about it that you got the game for free from us.
So can people, not just getting games to play, but are you guys all open with broadcasters asking for giveaways? And how many of you guys like to give away if somebody's looking for codes? Or
Yeah, we do stuff like that. Like if there's a contest that we think is interesting, or you know, if there's a good idea, we do that.
Yeah, we do as well.
I've worked on a lot of PC titles, a lot of online games and stuff like that. And we're constantly doing betas. You know, we've got a bunch of really cool companies that have done like Kickstarters, and some of the things we'll do is we'll do beta code giveaways coming out. So, but absolutely, again, if we've got codes, we're more than happy to share them. You know, especially around betas, it's usually easy to get like tons of codes and get them out because we're trying to get like tens, if not hundreds of thousands of people into a game simultaneously to make sure the servers don't burst into flames.
Unless your name is Carnage, and you just ask for codes.
Yeah.
It does nothing with them, right?
Yeah, exactly. My bad. Sorry. It's true. I'm the guy that they don't like. So I'm the one that just, you know, I get the game, I don't do anything with it. So, my bad. That's why I've been sitting here quiet the whole time. Sorry.
So we're going to do two things now. One, we're going to open up to a Q&A, and I also welcome anybody, you guys, I do know a lot of PR people are here as well. If there's something that you want to share with content creators who are in the audience, feel free to bring that up to the mic as well. And because this is a kind of about how to get free games, we've got a stack of free games for about the first 5 to 10 people who ask questions. So if you
But you don't even know what it is.
Everybody woke up.
Actually, really fast, Chase was saying, can all the other PR people in the room raise your hands up here? We've got Ubisoft, we've got Sega, we've got Capcom, we've got, I don't even know, a lot of people. But just look around, guys. This is serious, and like all the PR people in the games industry are still trying to figure out how to work with you guys. That's why like it looks like a third of the goddamn room are PR.
He's a legend. Over at Ubisoft, this is the guy you got to meet. Cool. So, and the other thing is, after this we only have probably about 5 minutes left or so we'll do speed round with the Q&A. But also, we still have about another half hour after that where Scott and Jeff are going to be sitting here at this table, and they're just going to do a meet and greet, so you guys can give your elevator pitch, give them a card, and then you'll at least have that first step going. So let's start with the first question.
So I'm still a really small streamer. I've only been going about a month and a half. I've only got 60 followers. But I am really passionate about what I play. I do have my branding done really well. And so, for example, I like to do Civ every Monday. And I'm really looking forward to Rising Tide. So I'm wondering, you know, as a person who's only got a few followers, but does have a significant business email on this channel and stuff, how do I approach you and say, hey, I only got 60 followers, but I really love Civ. I'd love a review copy. What can I do to kind of romance you? Your clothes smells great from here.
Well, in this specific instance, you just hang tight over here when we're exchange business emails. But no, seriously, I think your first best bet is to tweet at any of the PR managers. If you can, find us on Twitter. Also, the email address of pr@2k.com is, it's posted on the internet. If you just type in like how do I get in touch with, or like PR2k, that would show up. I think the biggest thing for you on that email is saying, not necessarily having to say like, hey, I only have 60 followers. Like, a lot of times I'll get that, like people almost like self-deprecating, like, oh, I just started it and I only have 60 people, but I really have great ambitions. Don't even worry about that. Just say, I love your game. This is what I'm looking to do. I have fun playing it. I know everything about it, and I want to share that with my fans. And that's the best way to immediately get attention. We'll always return your email.
Thank you so much.
So after you ask your question, just come up here, reach into the grab bag, and take the game of your choice.
Brown bag.
One game per customer. Take it.
All right. Hey, first I just want to say thanks a lot for the panel. It's been really helpful, great information. But I was curious, because I do show every week on Twitch, my buddy over here, where we talk about a lot of news, review games. What's that?
I said more beards. Awesome.
Yeah, all beards. I don't really know what a beard has been on your show yet. But I also do a lot with like my own site with like written criticism, with like podcasts and all sorts of other things. So like I got my hands on a lot of different baskets. Are you still interested in people like that with like a lot of different types of reaches? Or are you primarily looking at like Twitch streaming right now?
We're looking for people who talk to other people. because we can't talk to everybody at once. So we're trying to talk to you so that you can talk to your audience, and because I don't want to hear myself all day long. So we're trying to help you guys out. We get games to you so that you can write about it, you can podcast about it, you can blog about it, you can Instagram, whatever the internet is now. You can do all that stuff. So and that way I can have a beer, go to sleep.
I would say the last thing.
Yeah.
Focus on whatever. If you send me an email, you can focus on what it is that you want to put out there first, right? Like, I can't. If you're throwing like these 6 things, it's like, okay, well, which one are you really like pushing hard? Maybe pushing all of them hard, right? But just lying to me, like this is my most important thing. This is why I want to.
Well, specifically for your game, like what part of that would be that?
That just helps me.
Okay. Thanks a lot, guys.
Oh, well, come up and get your game. By the way, these games are courtesy of 2K and Xbox. They brought some Gears of War, some Evolve. What else? Anything else?
Oh, I have codes. I have codes for NHL. So if you're an NHL fan and you're going to ask a question, we'll work that.
Hey guys, thanks so much for the panel. My question is pretty much going to be almost the same as the first question, but I'm going to modify it a little bit. So you say you don't really care too much about numbers and analytics and stuff, but it does play a role. So let's say we have a streamer, who is just starting out a couple months in, got a couple hundred, but he's really passionate about what he does, great voice, professional looking. However, he doesn't have the numbers. What other things are you looking for as a complete package that would, so to speak, sell you as he tries to sell himself to you in trying to get codes and stuff so he can improve his channel?
Yeah, I think so. I think I mentioned earlier, like you are just starting out on Twitch, but you've got a nice following on Twitter or something like that. I mean, we will look at the whole package. And while not everyone is going to be, I think that you don't have to have 500,000 subscribers, but if you come in and then it's like, wow, you seem to be gaining traction, you're growing very quickly. We ultimately hope that at some point you are going to be big, but we don't have to wait until you are. But if the last couple of months it's been really picking up and you seem to be getting traction with a lot of comments and things like that, that's good. So if the potential, we want to know if the potential is there. If it's going to be 100 forever, you're competing, and so we only have X amount. So if we really like you, then maybe something works out. But I think it very much is case by case. There's not a formula we're going to look at. But if you're really charming, that helps a lot. If you're aren't there, maybe you'll get there.
I think showing the passion for the product too is a big passion, at least for me, right? If you're passionate about it and you're not clearly knowledgeable in your email, it's clear that you play this game. That's far more likely to want to work with you, because whether you have a zillion numbers or you just aren't going to get 0, if you're passionate about it, I believe that you can get to have a lot of numbers, and I want to help you get there. So that's probably the number one thing.
Hey guys, so we're actually going to have to cut it off, but for everybody in line, we're going to line up over everything else. You can ask the questions directly. And before you do that, I just want to thank our panelists for coming out.